The paperwork sat on my kitchen table, still warm from the printer. Outside, the snow was falling the way it always did in late November. Silent, steady, covering everything. I could smell the wood smoke from the stove. My nephew's signature was at the bottom of the loan application, right above the line that listed my cabin as collateral. He hadn't asked me to sign anything. He'd just assumed I would. I'm not the kind of man who talks much about what I own. I worked 32 years in construction management. I saved when other people spent. I bought the cabin in Colorado when I was 43, back when land up there was still affordable if you knew where to look. It wasn't a showpiece. 2 bedrooms, a wood stove, a porch that faced the valley, no cell service for the first mile. It was mine. Paid off. Quiet. My nephew, Derek, was 26. Ambitious in the way young men are when they've never been told no. He'd been talking about his startup for 2 years, some app that promised to disrupt something I didn't fully understand. He had energy. He had ideas. What he didn't have was collateral, or so I thought. He came over on a Tuesday night, unannounced. I was finishing dinner when I heard his truck in the driveway. He didn't knock, just walked in, the way family does when they think proximity equals permission. "Uncle Mike," he said, dropping his laptop bag on the couch. "I need to talk to you about something big." I set my plate in the sink. "Go ahead." He pulled out his phone, swiped through some slides. Investors, projections, growth curves. I listened without interrupting. Then he got to the part that mattered. "The bank needs collateral," he said. "Something real." I told them about the cabin. I looked at him. "You told them what? That you'd co-sign? It's just a formality. The business is solid. You'd never actually be on the hook." I didn't raise my voice. I just asked him one question. "Did you ask me first?" He smiled. Not nervous. Confident. "I knew you'd understand once you saw the numbers." That's when I realized he wasn't asking. He was announcing. I didn't argue that night. I told him I needed to see the paperwork. He sent it over within an hour. A PDF with my name already listed as guarantor, my property already appraised and attached. He'd done his homework. He just hadn't done it with my permission. The next few days were quiet on the surface. I went to work. I came home. I made the same dinners I always made. But at night, I sat at that kitchen table and read every page of the loan documents. I made notes in the margins. I called my attorney, a guy I'd worked with on the cabin purchase years ago. "Can he do this?" I asked. "Not without your signature," he said. "But if you sign, you're legally liable. If the business fails, they come for the cabin. And if I don't sign, then he doesn't get the loan." I thanked him and hung up. Derek texted me twice that week. Casual, friendly. "Hey, did you get a chance to look at the docs?" I didn't reply. On Friday, my sister called. Derek's mother, my older sister, the one who still thought of me as the younger brother who needed guidance. "Mike, Derek told me about the loan," she said. "I think it's wonderful that you're helping him." I set down my coffee. "I haven't agreed to anything." There was a pause. "He said you were on board. He assumed I was on board. There's a difference." Her tone shifted. "Mike, he's family. He's trying to build something. Don't you want to support that?" I could hear the edge in her voice. The unspoken accusation. "You have the cabin. You don't have kids. What else are you going to do with it?" "I support him," I said. "But I'm not signing over my property as a blank check." She sighed. "You've always been so careful with money. Sometimes you have to take risks for the people you love." I didn't argue. I just told her I'd think about it. But I'd already made up my mind. The breaking point came the following Tuesday. I drove up to the cabin to check on it. Before winter fully set in. I did this every year, drained the pipes, stacked firewood, locked the shutters. It was routine. When I pulled up, Derek's truck was already there. I walked inside. He was in the living room with 2 other guys I didn't recognize. They had a camera set up. They were filming. "Uncle Mike," Derek said, grinning. "Perfect timing. We're shooting a pitch video." I was just showing them the space. I looked around. They'd moved furniture, set up lights. One of them was holding a microphone. "You brought a film crew to my cabin," I said. "It's for the investor deck," he explained. "We're showing them the asset. It makes the whole thing more tangible." I didn't yell. I didn't ask them to leave. I just walked back outside, got in my truck, and drove home. On the way down the mountain, I called my attorney again. He walked me through it calmly. "You own the property outright. He has no legal claim unless you give it to him. If he's using your property in promotional materials without permission, that's a separate issue. What do I need to do?" Nothing dramatic. Just make sure he knows, in writing, that you're not consenting to any use of the property as collateral or in any business capacity. I drafted the email that night. Short, clear, no emotion. Derek, I'm not co-signing the loan. I'm not authorizing use of the cabin as collateral or in any promotional materials. If you've represented otherwise to any party, you need to correct that immediately. Mike, I hit send. He called me 6 times in the next hour. I didn't answer. The fallout was predictable. My sister called me again. Angry this time. You're crushing his dream over paperwork. I stayed calm. I'm protecting what I built. If his dream depends on taking what's mine without asking, it's not a dream. It's entitlement. She hung up. Derek showed up at my house 2 days later. I opened the door but didn't invite him in. You're really going to do this? He said. His voice was tight. Not angry. Hurt. I'm really not going to risk my home for a business plan I didn't agree to fund. I said. I thought you believed in me. I do. But belief doesn't mean co-signing a loan I can't afford to lose. He stared at me for a long moment, then he turned and left. 3 weeks later, I heard through my sister that Derek's loan application was denied. He tried another bank, same result. Without collateral, the risk was too high. The startup stalled. He took a job with a tech company in Denver. Decent salary, benefits, stable. I didn't gloat. I didn't reach out. I just went back to my life. A few months later, I got a text from him. I get it now. I was out of line. I didn't reply right away. I let it sit for a day. Then I wrote back. Appreciate that. Let me know if you ever want to come up to the cabin. Doors open. He never took me up on it. Not yet anyway. But I meant it. I learned something in all of this. Boundaries aren't cruel. They're necessary. Especially with family. Especially with people you love. I didn't owe Derek my property. I didn't owe him a yes just because we shared a last name. What I owed him, what I owe anyone, is honesty, respect, and the kind of love that doesn't enable bad decisions. The cabin is still mine. The snow still falls the same way every November. And I sleep fine at night. Spring came early that year. I drove up to the cabin in late March, when the snow had mostly melted and the roads were clear enough to handle without chains. I needed to open the place up, check for winter damage, get the water running again. The drive gave me time to think. Derek hadn't contacted me since that one text. My sister had stopped calling altogether. Family gatherings. The few we had became tense and brief. I wasn't invited to Easter dinner. I heard about it afterward through my younger cousin. It didn't bother me the way I thought it might. I'd spent most of my adult life being the reliable one, the one who showed up, the one who helped when asked, and I still would. But I'd learned the difference between helping and being used. There's a cost to saying no to family. I won't pretend there isn't. But there's a bigger cost to saying yes when you shouldn't. The cabin looked exactly the way I'd left it. I spent the afternoon replacing a rotted board on the porch, clearing debris from the gutters, restocking the firewood shed. Simple work, the kind that clears your head. By evening, I was sitting on the porch with a cup of coffee, watching the valley turn gold in the sunset. My phone buzzed. A message from Derek. Hey, I know it's been a while. I've been thinking a lot. Can we talk sometime? I stared at the screen for a minute. Then I replied, sure, let me know when. He called the next day. We talked for 20 minutes. He didn't apologize again. He'd already done that. But he explained things differently this time. How the pressure to succeed had made him blind to boundaries. How he'd confused support with entitlement. How losing the loan had forced him to rebuild from scratch, but smarter this time. I'm not asking for anything, he said. I just wanted you to know I get it now. I appreciate that, I said. There was a pause. The offer still stands, I told him. If you want to come up to the cabin sometime. No business talk. Just family. I'd like that, he said. We hung up. I don't know if he'll actually come. Maybe he will. Maybe he won't. But the door's open. And the boundary is still there. Both can be true. I finished my coffee and went back inside. The cabin was quiet. The kind of quiet you only get when you've protected what matters. I didn't regret a single decision I'd made. And I knew I'd do it all again. If this story resonated with you, hit that like button and drop a comment below. Subscribe for more real-life stories about family, boundaries, and the quiet strength it takes to stand your ground. Thanks for listening.